We got Delirium on through a ley line of the void. Somebody clip it and ship it. That's 6 upstairs. Good game, opponent. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I know clicking on this video, you've probably seen another Gruul deck, and they're like, oh no, of course, another ley line deck. But that is not the case here. We are playing Gruul Delirium, and my god, did I not realize how easy turning Delirium actually on is in Standard currently. We have a lot of ways to do it, and the primary card that we're going to be focusing our deck around, or primary cards that we're focusing our deck around, are a few here, I would say, in terms of like whether we want them in our opener and whatnot. So the primary function and the main thing we want is fear of missing out, or FOMO for short, if you would. But fear of missing out enters, we discard a card and then draw a card. That part is actually important. But we have Delirium. Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, which is what Delirium is, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So with that, we can put this into play off of another card we'll talk about in just a second. Attack with it, untap our biggest creature, and then re-attack with it. If we do play cards that have vigilance, however, they would also be able to attack as well. Something like a Sharp-Eyed Rookie, which I didn't try out today. Might try out in the future. So if you do want to, if you have a couple of these, you could probably toss them in if you'd like to. So you can get more combat in. But this works incredibly well and gets our turn 2 Delirium on. And being able to attack with this on turn 2 as well with Breakout. So if we start off the game with like a Fabled Passage or a Surveil Land and put something in the graveyard, oftentimes it can almost be anything in that graveyard because this is the only sorcery spell in our deck. So whenever it goes in the graveyard, it's going to automatically bump that Delirium count by 1. But if we put in like a Torch or a Lightning Strike or like a Cash Grab or any of these other things, this says look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. If that creature mana value is 2 or less, which fear of missing out happens to be, if it is 2 or less, you may put that on the battlefield and give it haste until end of turn. If you didn't put the reveal card on the battlefield that way, we just put it in our hand and the rest go on the bottom in a random order. If we don't meet the requirement, they obviously all 6 go to the bottom, and that ends up sucking for us, of course. But oftentimes when we put this fear of missing out in play, well, Brick, we have either an instant or a sorcery and just the breakout in the graveyard. How do we get to 4? This entering and having us discard a card and then drawing a card, there are a ton of creatures that meet the requirement that we need in order to turn Delirium on instantly. First of all, a second copy of this because it is a creature and an enchantment, which is 2 extras, so we get 1 extra thing plus 2. Or we can put one of these in the graveyard. That is a artifact creature, which is 2 different types. This is an artifact creature, which is also 2 different types. And this is also an artifact creature with 2 different types. Obviously, it gets a little bit weird if one of these is what we already put in the graveyard. But then you might have to sacrifice something else, like a Cash Grab or a Torch or like something smaller than that. This is also an artifact with like creature. And then maybe we go to combat with this and then it gets killed by a cut down or something. And then just like that, we are popping off with all that stuff. So with that said, the best kind of creature to have in combination with this is 2 creatures, and that being the Wildfire guy here or Screaming Nemesis. Wildfire is super sweet. It's just a 3/2 haster. It is an artifact, so Go for the Throat cannot get this. This is why Go for the Throat's a little bit worse, especially against us. We make it really bad. But this gets a 1/1 and has trample as long as there are 4 or more card types, so as long as we meet that Delirium cost. So this will be a 4/3. If we get to attack with the fear of missing out with this in play, we get to hit our opponent for 8 potentially, and that is a big swing. Outside of that, we have Screaming Nemesis. Whenever Nemesis is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. This is very important, as you will see in the video. Oftentimes, our opponent does have ways to gain life, but Screaming Nemesis has prevented them from doing so. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and hop into the games, see how they go. The intro's already kind of long enough. And if you all enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. It truly helps out the channel a ton. The last thing I will say, I guess, I meant to bring this up earlier. In the main board outside the lands, because obviously lands are a little bit different. These are all common and uncommons right here. This entire row, this is 4 rares and 4 mythics. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the games. Well, I was clicking onto the screen and almost hit mulligan. That was crazy. I mean, yeah, we'll keep this for sure. We are on the play. Do I have time to surveil? Maybe, because I don't really want to play this on my next turn. I'd much rather be able to play something. If I had a 1-drop, I would do it, but I think I just have to play this and just kind of cater towards what the meta has been. Like, for example, there's a Heartfire hero, so thankfully we have this torch available. We'll pop it, we'll get it down, call it a day. There's a second torch. I now have an instant. I could put a sorcery in my graveyard and get a creature. This is kind of a risk that I don't necessarily have to take, but thankfully we did take it. Just put this in front of the battlefield. It does have haste. I can now discard a card. I can put an artifact and a creature in, and we just did Delirium on turn 2. What a sick play from us, team. Yeah, man. Now, will we win the game? I have no idea. But am I going to try? Yeah. Oh, and we have double torch for this. No way. Screaming Nemesis is good. Attack. Untap this one. You take the damage, because, like, why would they not? Sweet. And then we're just going to go ahead, instant, pop this. Now, interestingly enough, as you just saw, the best part about these fear of missing outs is, like, this can bargain. Put the shatter on it. White when it enters. Sure, that's fine. We'll try to get it here, I guess. I think they have a 1 white protection spell, but we're going to try to pop this if we can. Yeah. Figured as much, but that's okay. Interesting. Are they dead here? I think they're dead, right? This can block next turn. I can play both my creatures, so sure. Oh, I guess they're not dead. Put them to 1, and putting them to 1 here is actually huge because I can't use their battlefield forge. All right, they hit their source anyway. Monster trade, sure. Is that enough? That's 9. Is it enough? They tied to their own red land. Nice. If that red land wasn't there, I was going to actually change the way I played that, and I was actually, instead of attacking with this, I would have just held it back. Because the best part about this is if they don't swing for lethal, for example, and I can use this extra 3 toughness to put me at 16, essentially, I can block, and then because this gets hit for at least 3, I could then shoot it at them, which would have done the same. But if they didn't have trample, like, trample makes it weird, I guess. I don't know. All right, opponent goes first. Now we'll get to see what happens this time. Like, we're definitely keeping this. We have a lot going on here. Now they'll definitely put a creature in for sure, or not. Okay. Well, I guess because they didn't play a creature that they can always put Slick Shot up there. This is an artifact creature, so we can use it to bargain if we need to. Also dodges like the shock damage, which seems like maybe what they had, or maybe they have the equipment. I've seen a lot of people play that card as of late. Yeah, we'll take that action, of course. We hit an enchantment and a creature right away. We can do land, and maybe if we hit well, yes, we just throw that away. And then I'm down to just go ahead and get rid of this now. Waiting doesn't seem great. And then we can look to cash, but there's another one of those. Who really knows what's about to happen to me? Probably pretty dead here, or like that on the following turn. Always kind of an interesting situation. Definitely take this mill because maybe it'll hit. It does indeed hit. He's gonna only grab a permanent spell, so I guess we'll just have to see. I could find a fear of missing out, but there's already 2 in my yard, so I guess just surveil here. Land in the yard. And it has trample as long as there are 4 more types. I guess I want to try to find a fear here. We do indeed find that. Yep. You discard a land here. It'll just be the forest. Draw another card. And now we have double hasters next turn. I attack. I untap here. Then honestly, I'm probably going to use the Patchwork Beastie as kind of a brick wall if I can. And because I could go in for 3 more. But I think I just have lethal next turn regardless based on these. Because these will come in with a 1/1. So this will be 8, 10. Oh! Okay. How many lands have we put in there? Let's just decline that for now. Screaming Nemesis, very good. Don't think it gets me covered though, and I believe they have to block. That's, yeah, they have to block here. So, interestingly enough, this is a team getting shipped in, and obviously we untap the Trampler, and now it's 8, 9, 10, 13 plus an additional 4 coming across the board, and I actually don't think it matters. I think they have to block this 3/3. I think the math works out that way. Yeah, I think they figured it out. No? Yeah, okay. And then, of course, double ley line. If they're going to put a slick shot in, they're going to do it regardless. I'm putting them in the 1 and forcing them to have it with card +2. But very sweet. Just like that, we get in there super aggressively. I'm actually kind of liking this deck. This is a cool deck. I think it's super sweet so far. I don't know where we'll end up going from here, but with that said, let's just see how it keeps going. My opponent goes first. A little tough. This does start off in red, so we do have to play the Fabled Passage. Might just be mono red. Seems that way. You can go grab what here? Green source. Doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to be casting the Breakout overall. There's a land plus sorcery plus maybe something good. Fear of Missing Out seems like best card to put in play. Yeah. And then I can put in Artifact Creature right away. Triggers get the kind of Delirium online on turn 2, which is super sick. I don't know what they have. Attack again. Could be a Torch. This could just be Boros Control. Might be seeing an Urbrass Forge or something here. Which means just gates open for this guy. This guy is one of the best cards to follow up with the Fear. Just because it'll give it... Oh, Carrot Cake. Now Torch is available. As they can get rid of this, but they might want to be getting rid of this. It's unsure what they'll want to do. Idealistically, for the most part, can be a good matchup. It's just whether or not we can kind of get there. Just going for the Torch immediately. Interesting. Cast a spell, brother. Not that complicated. You've probably been playing this deck for a while now. Good spell on this deck. Now, it does suck, but I do think this is a Fear of Missing Out turn where we kind of had to play it instead. Hopefully, maybe I should have kept this because then I could play a 2-drop and another 1-drop. But Screaming Nemesis makes everything easier. Because they do damage, and if Screaming Nemesis says, deal damage to me, please. I love damage. I'll make it where you never gain life again, and then we can hopefully burn out our opponent with a lot of hasters. They need to make a big board. We'll see what they do, though. Might even be a point where we, like, Lightning Strike our own Nemesis, just so we can hit them for the extra 3. Use it kind of as a Fear of Missing Out in a way where we kind of get a second combat, if you would. Caretaker's Talent, sure. No way, maybe just a Torch available. What it seems like to me. So let's get the Wildfire in. Just massive creature with haste. We hit for 7. Down to 6. And I think with that said, they might go for a Sunfall next turn. So I'm going to just hold and then lightning strike the Nemesis if that's the case. So they'll, one, make it less of a creature, and two, never be able to gain life again. Then a lightning strike at some point will be lethal. Destroying all creatures that are tapped. I still think I'd go for it, yeah. Now, they are emblemed essentially. They didn't crack this, so there's no life to be gained. And they'll figure that one out at some point, maybe. Maybe not, who knows. Split Up's a cool card, though, that they get to play. Go for the deck, then. We play 22 lands, so as many as we can pull out, we definitely want to. And now we have a choice. I do have a lot of breakouts that give things haste and whatnot. They could just play weird things, so I guess I should probably just play both of these, and I can get rid of the forest, because I do forget that this kind of rummages. If you don't know what rummage is, that means you like discard first and then do the other thing. With the cash grab, now I just wait, I think. Actually, do I wait? No, I can do it all next turn too, right? Yeah, I can just do it on next turn. I'll do a Piggy Bank here. And it gives me, like, kind of more of a chance. Now, you'll see, they'll sacrifice that. They'll gain no life. Just have to find another Lightning Strike, and the game's over. Another Screaming Nemesis gets it done pretty much as well. As you see, the emblem over there, kind of... It's not an emblem. It's really weird. I don't know. They Sunfall, maybe they do some weird stuff, and then the cash grab obviously becomes lethal. This is giving me an extra combat right now, sorta. If a creature we had vigilance, it would be extra. Maybe, now that I think about it, maybe the rookie card would also be sick here, because rookie does have vigilance, and it'd be nice with fear to like untap the fear and then have the rookie be able to attack again. Because it is another combat, it's kind of one combat, because only one creature is untapped. So it's a little bit awkward. In the tank, my opponent. They exile and make dudes. Sure. That's a haster for 3. Or 4-ish. Let us cast it, or let us play District here. See what's on top. Breakout, so now we know to wait. I'll put this in. Definitely attacking here. They have to kind of full chump this up if they want. They can't throw 1 in front of it. They have to throw a minimum of 2. Okay. An interesting choice. Now they'll have no token to start with. And they'll go to 2? Or 1? Interesting. I figured they would kind of just 3-block this and throw 1 in front of the other to get the Trampler off the battlefield. Then we can use Breakout here to give a creature haste. It's not guaranteed, you know, Collected Company misses all the time, so hopefully don't miss, but kind of have 2 looks in a way thanks to this treasure token, because we can do this for a Screaming Nemesis. Sure. That is a token to draw a card. Yeah. My turn. Let's fire off the Breakout. Any of these work, and I'm going to do it with the pig. I'm on the battlefield. They have no mana, so we'll just go to combat and win the game. Just wanted to double check there to make sure I had a clear and concise way to win the game. Last thing I want to do is overlook 1 red mana available and not get torched or something, when I very easily could have cast this, maybe found a Screaming Nemesis, or like even, I think there was one in there, like one of the 1/1s with haste, or even finding like one of these with haste. We have a lot of options when we mill over there, so I just wanted to make sure that we had it covered. Go first. I mean, yes. Like, exactly kind of what we're looking for here. We have a 1, a 2. Drop kind of up and ready to go. This gets an attack. This dies like it's an artifact creature. So it fits our Delirium kind of clause. We go here. I could play the Piggy Bank, man, but I'm going to do the breakout. Hope it hits, and it does. I get to do Fear of Missing Out, getting rid of Artifact and Creature. Yeah, it's a little weird because the Fabled Passage didn't come through. But Fear of Missing Out being so strong regardless, like, I think we just have to go for that. Could discard to land, but I automatically get to do this next turn, so it should be this. Nice. And then we'll just go to combat now, hit for good solid 3. I feel like it's probably Boros aggro. Not really sure right now what exactly it is. But again, remember, this land will turn to Delirium on. We'll get to play the Wildfire guy here. Dude, his art actually is sick, by the way. This art's so dope. I love that art. But we'll get to play it because the land will go in there and the Delirium, and it has haste. There's a Helix. So it looks like Boros again, interestingly enough. And with that, I could go Screaming Nemesis. Did they go first? No, I went first. I think I play Screaming Nemesis. They could have a Get Lost. I mean, this is more damage, right? But it's less mana. And I can do double spell next turn. Yeah, it's fine with me. Down to 14. And if it is something like a Brotherhood End, then we shut off the life gain forever. Again, if it's another Helix, we're good. A Get Lost is my fear. Yeah, there it is. Okay. That's the only thing there. We find another land. But what if we go for like a little bit of a deck then here? Now, do I cash grab? Or do I just play this and then pump? And kind of pumping seems like a better idea. Well, actually, maybe it's a better idea. Who knows? Okay, probably a better idea. I'll grab the Bestie here. I'll play Bestie for a turn. I'll activate this on this guy. Breakout's fantastic. Because we can find lethal with a breakout next turn if we do find the goofball. We find this. Oh, I just realized if you play this with no cards in hand, you'll actually draw a card. Because the discard clause, it doesn't specify like that it has to hit. Decline. I don't know if anybody else has to do that sometimes, but your boy for sure does. Should I activate this? I probably should, right? Just in case, because if it's a land, I'd like it out of the way. All right, so we have a guarantee hit, and I'm okay with a guarantee hit. Let us fire this off. Okay, that's fine. 100% put it on the battlefield. Now get in there. Now we got a lot coming in. Skip them in. We have, at minimum, there's no point blocking this. So we have 10 damage hitting them. They're going to 2. And Sunfall is not available. So, once again, against Boros. Now, they could play the tap one. That sucks. That could happen. Split, whatever that card is. A second Carrot Cake and 3 life, and that's... I don't think that's going to get them anywhere. On top, maybe that's a Sunfall. They're going to try to survive this turn. You remember, if my Clockwork guy dies, it kind of gives me a draw. I have 5 damage on board. That does not get you there. And we beat Boros control once again. So, very cool. We come away with another win. Against that deck that preys on creature decks, like, this is a deck that most of the time we're going to fear, but we actually end up coming away with it, and that's very good. Very good for us. Go first. I mean, I could Surveil and then double Clockwork here. I kind of like that. I could do it the same the other way, but I rather Clockwork just to make sure what I have on top is something that I'd want. I don't really care what my opponent does. We are the Chrome Dome Battle Royale, you know what I'm saying? A blue-black land. Okay, so just a blue is available. Enigma Jewel. So artifact. All 4 Surveil lands, team? How are we feeling about that? Now, this is an artifact, so Get Lost and stuff like that are not available. I'm gonna double Clockwork here. Just start putting on some pressure. Don't let them build up as quickly. Obviously, they might have some bounce effects, but honestly, draw the 5th Surveil land, so I could say this loss was strictly because this game hates me. Now, they could have a counterspell. They have activations on this. It's 3 mana to do, so I could see if they want to do it, but I would like to cast this Breakout. But they could have counterspell. I don't think they keep a hand like that if they don't. There's the pause. Cash grab can go. I'm gonna put this dude on the stack. I would like to break out later, I think. 2 mana to activate this to make a fish. Is it really worth it? Okay, do it before I go to combat, because that... Sure. No, I'm good. For now. We'll wait 1 turn. Much rather wait until I can kind of, like, cause some problems. Screaming Nemesis, a problem. Surveil. Screaming Nemesis is kind of what I want to play next turn. I assume I'm getting a spell countered here. Lightning Strike's pretty good. Actually, if I left it on top like an idiot, now I need a Screaming Nemesis. Oh, man. I think we're going to end up falling short in this game, for sure. I don't care if the Clockwork dies now, because I'll get to cast this next turn with my Breakout available. See what's up. Making another dude here. Make a treasure. Okay. Interesting. I feel like this has to be a synthesizer deck, but they haven't done anything. The Hidetsugu deck? Interesting. Interesting indeed. Can I get there and not die? That's the important thing, right? We need a fear here. Wicker is pretty close. I mean, I can give it a 3-2 in haste. Like, that'll do it. Kind of. Now I go to combat. I hit for 8. Yeah. Totem. Go to 4, man. It's a tough one. It's a tough one for sure. I remember this will draw 2. They haven't just killed the Hidetsugu, so I hate the way that looks. The way that's stretched right there, that's absurd. But they haven't killed it immediately, so I feel like a little more confident in our plan to win, but who really knows? Always kind of tough. Go for this. I don't know if blue-black has any way to gain life, but doing this kind of ensures that I could potentially get there. Maybe I should have just went upstairs. Like, this is actually kind of a dumb play. I just don't know if they have a way to gain life. I got so locked into this play that I just, like, was like, no, this would have just put them to 1. They haven't played, like, any counter or removal earlier, so, like, I feel fine with this. And as long as it works, it's the same. Like, because it's still 3 damage, but if they would have killed it in response, it's no damage. We put the emblem on them. They attack for 5. Maybe they kill it and hope they hit. Maybe they just didn't have anything. Not sure. Oh, they died because the second black mana. I did not realize that. So, interesting. Interesting indeed. Very cool. Very cool. Definitely should have let them make that play and then just lightning strike them in response. But we come away with the win. A little sloppy from me, I think. Maybe. Like, so. I don't know if there's a way for them to gain life, but any Hidetsugu deck does play a lot of, like, Atraxas and stuff, so it did make me a bit nervous. Mamma mia. Yeah, I guess. I guess it's one of the slower hands we've had, but sure. You know, it's fine. We'll play Surveillance. We'll see what we hit. And then maybe I go for the Piggy Bank. Not really sure. Maybe I go for the Haster. Torch could be good. We don't know what we're against yet, so I kind of want to hold it. If it's just mono red, I would like to have the Torch. All right, so we have destroy effects and not necessarily damage effects. So I'm going to... Ooh, maybe? Yeah, it's a cut down. That's a cut down if I've ever seen it. Could have played this one. I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I'm like lost. I'm literally lost. The sauce has been lost, and the lost in the sauce lost. So they draw and they have to discard here. So is this the... Oh, no way, dude. This one. Yeah, block this one, mate. Yeah, block it. Yeah, block it. Yeah, get a block in on him. See this lifelink not work? Obviously, I'm joking, but it would just been funny. There's another doll. That's gross. We might be able to do something cheesy here. We have one more turn before that's kind of coming out, which is tough. Don't think they'll attack. They might double block. I have no idea. If they don't, I probably end up torching it regardless, especially with this draw. Let's go to combat before we do anything. It's actually more damage if I let that happen, but I'm going to torch. Oh, I don't want to bargain, brother. Like, I can't. That's not even an option. So it's one less damage, but it turns their win condition kind of off. Like, now they can't do it because now they can't gain life anymore. It's just this is just a 9/9 flying ward, dude. Which, don't get me wrong, tough, but like, we can kind of beat it. Not greatly, but we can beat it. Take the action. There's my fear missing out. Very sick. They can get double combat now, maybe. Does this work? I have no idea. But I mean, regardless, like I'm going crazy. Get in there. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Here. The lifelink is not on there, and this is now double stacked. You're double no life gain. I don't know if they knew that, but I have no way to turn Delirium on, so these can't attack. So, kind of a lightning strike bust. Or like a good haster and they have no mana. It's a tough day. If I remember right, Cash Grab should still grab the card, but I'm not sure. Wow. Now that makes things a little harder. Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't think this works. I'm gonna find out from the team. Yeah. Oh, wait, it does. And there's the lightning strike. Boo. Boo! So I am dead next turn regardless. That's a tough game. Man, they really messed up the card. They really messed up the fear of missing out, and I still end up losing because of it. That's kind of annoying. We go first. This hand's solid. We'll keep this. Interesting. I just see that somebody watched Cover Go Blues video today. Fine with me. I can't get Fear of Missing Out to ever work, but sure. Better than those, I suppose. This is an interesting situation that I find myself in, and I have to do this clause. So I guess here's just Lightning Strike. Screaming Nemesis is probably going to be good. Another Breakout's fun. Leyline of the Void awkwardly, like, catching us off guard as well. Just because, like, I'm strictly a Delirium deck. There's nothing I can do about this. Might as well be the Nemesis, maybe? I'll do the land. I'll do land. That's why I do land. We know Arena did. If I'd have got Nemesis, I'd have hit that land. I'd have been really upset. But here we are. If I had Delirium available, I'd be pretty pumped. This snake time. Oh no, not the Viper. This actually helps us because I can't really block our Nemesis, and we'll just hold the Nemesis back. Well, I guess I can always remove it. That's the problem for sure. Definitely a problem for sure. We'll see what we hit here. A scry, a double scry. With that said, I actually should sacrifice this, right? Artifact, creature, no more Leyline of the Void. Yeah, definitely should sacrifice that. We hit a second Screaming Nemesis. Not really what we want, but what we find regardless. We have artifact, creature, now sorcery. We hit here. I can put an instant speed spell in. So I just should, right? Yeah, I guess I just should. Now this is definitely a combat situation where if it takes 7 and then the Nemesis is held up, then it works. They won't be able to double block there. Then this is a lethal attack. Alright. Screaming Nemesis. We got Delirium on through a Leyline of the Void. Somebody clip it and ship it. That's 6 upstairs. Good game, opponent. I think getting rid of that Leyline of the Void was a little tough, but we put them in a really tough spot where they had to get that thing down. And that is a absurd game to end up winning, and I'm going to call it right there. I mean, Leyline of the Void was in play. We could not get Delirium. And with sacrificing this creature to that snake and Breakout and putting an instant speed spell in the graveyard, we end up getting Delirium for double combat and a win. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. All right, team. Well, my, oh my, did we not do something today? This deck was absolutely sick, and I had a lot of fun playing it. I'm so glad to have Fear of Missing Out actually do something. Like, the problem is this card's absurd, right? But the Leyline deck is just so good that it's hard to justify playing this, but we get to do it. And the main reason why is because turning Delirium on in Standard is actually not that hard. The list I've seen where they're trying to do Delirium, a lot of them are playing a ton of these, and they're playing the other thing with the big giant creature that they can get out for free. But I just opted to go around that and play a couple of like lands that can kind of support my own game plan, and the 1 mana spells aren't necessarily all that important comparatively to always play a turn 1 spell because of the way this deck works out. So what we end up getting to do is we try to start off with one of these 1-drops, obviously, or have a torch, depending, as we saw in one of our games where I opted to hold up the torch instead to remove a creature against mono red. Just kind of guessing for the meta. But the thing I got to play today that honestly made me the happiest was Breakout. Breakout was this weird card that got some modern play. It was putting in like the Asmo card. I'm not saying its name. It's 40 characters long. If you know what MH2 is, you'll know what Asmo is. I'm pretty sure it was MH2, but look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. If it has mana value 2 or less, we put it directly on the battlefield with haste, and it just so happens that Fear of Missing Out meets that requirement, as we know, because it is 2 mana, and entering the battlefield, it is very possible, especially if turn 1 we play a Surveil land, or the Fabled Passage is even better because we're guaranteed to get a land in the graveyard, that we have a land, a sorcery, and if we have any of these creatures in the hand when we put Fear of Missing Out into play, or a second copy of Fear of Missing Out, that we're automatically going to get that Delirium online on turn 2. And that just feels so absurd to me. So I opted to play a lot less of these effects and just more like aggressive kind of aggro-y get in there. I do think there's a lot of work that can be done to this, and definitely can be catered to however you want to play the game. Because I do think a little bit of it is kind of, I don't know. This doesn't feel the best, but it also feels good. I put this in here as another artifact creature, kind of cutting out some of the like cash grabs and stuff, because this dying gives us a little bit more mana. Sometimes like having 5 mana is not that bad whenever it's becoming a Screaming Nemesis into a breakout turn, because these obviously can be very strong. But overall, I think you can't necessarily go that wrong, especially this guy. This guy's wild. I don't think you can necessarily go that wrong if you're looking at something like this as your starting shell. I think having this 1-drop being a 3/3 that can attack on turn 2 oftentimes because of breakout and like the Fear of Missing Out, and a 3/3 attacking on turn 2 seems really, really good to me, at least. But cards like that I kind of thought about when I was in there is Rookie. I think this card's super sick. This is a vigilance creature. Whenever a creature enters, you can make a clue token if its power is greater than this, which oftentimes it will be. Is it power or toughness? If its power is. So we do in this spot, like this is a 3/3, works with the Sharp-Eyed Rookie, and we can give it haste depending if we have Delirium. This is the only one that doesn't meet that requirement, but oftentimes we can play it first. The Piggy Bank meets the requirement, immediately growing this. The Wildfire meets it the first time. If we have Delirium, it meets it the second time. Or does it get, when it's a 1/1 trample as long as there are 4 cards? I don't know if Delirium checks before this enters to put another counter on it. If this is already a 3/3, I'm not sure. But the thing with Fear of Missing Out, and the only thing I unironically was missing out on, was having those creatures that do have vigilance that can also attack a second time. Because all we kind of had was Fear of Missing Out doing it. Now, could I play Monstrous Rage? Maybe. And maybe that can just like pump this creature hugely and use it that way, like instead of playing a Lightning Strike. But I think we saw how good Lightning Strike was, constantly hitting our Nemesis, turning their life gain off, especially against those Boros decks that try to climb out of it. Using this is just great. So with that said, I would be gladly open to suggestions, and I think this deck is incredibly fun and super sick. And other than that, it is a little expensive, maybe. Actually, damn, it's not that bad. Like, that's of course if you own these. You could definitely cut like some of these, like if you really want to do it. Like if you don't have all copies of these, just play more basics. You're probably going to be fine. If we look in here, it's 32 red sources and 14. So if you don't have all the copies of this, just up your mountains most likely. It's just a little weird because like this is also a 1-mana green spell, so you might just want to split them or just go up mountains. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Or even if you're missing more, you can play more Fabled Passages to make sure you're getting more lands in the graveyard. But we were on 22 lands. You could argue to do less. I'm not really sure. We do fit that weird thing where we always want to hit the 3rd mana, but we don't really need it too much more than that. But we do play a lot of 2-mana spells, as you can see, so it does fit the, it's like we want to be able to cast 2 of these a turn, so it's kind of weird. You do have to run that down. But I mean, if you look right away in terms of rares and mythics, like cheap wise, it's not that bad if you're already spec'd on this card. Like this is obviously the hardest card, I think, outside of the lands. But if you already have the lands, and if you don't, you can just make shift some stuff up. Most of the spells that are multicolored are like whatever. The hardest card that you want to be able to cast every turn is this one, if you can. But outside of that, I mean, it's not necessarily that expensive a deck considering what other decks look like, obviously. But outside of that, I'll definitely take any suggestions. I'm going to put a couple of cards that I am personally going to suggest in the sideboard. It'll be in the deck description below if you want to look at it. Not going to really bring it up in the main. This is where watching the whole video kind of gets you maybe rewarded, or if you're paying attention, you'll see why these are in there. Outside of that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.